Hi guys, so in this video we will be attempting the question that you had to do of this section. So the question says that we've got a radio wave with a wavelength of 3 kilometers and an X-ray that has a wavelength of 3 picometers. Now it says calculate the frequency of the radio wave. So to calculate the frequency of the radio wave, we need the following information. We need the speed of the wave, and luckily we know that radio waves are electromagnetic waves, and therefore they will travel at the speed of 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. Then we also have the wavelength. Now they provide us with the wavelength as 3 kilometers. Now 3 kilometers is equal to 3,000 meters. So remember, you always have to convert to meters when doing these calculations. So my equation now is C is equal to F times the wavelength. So the frequency is what I want to calculate. I know that the wave speed is 3 times 10 to the 8th, and the wavelength is 3,000 meters. So calculating the frequency, I get that the frequency is 100,000 hertz per hertz. Yes, so it's 100,000 waves per second that is reaching me in the case of the radio wave. Now it says calculate the energy of a photon of the radio wave. Now to calculate the energy of a photon of the radio wave, we just need Planck's constant, which we find on our formula sheet. So our equation is Planck's constant times the frequency. So Planck's constant is 6,63 times 10 to the negative 34. And then our frequency we just calculated as 100,000 hertz. So calculating that, we get the energy of a single photon is 6,63 times 10 to the negative 29, and the unit of energy is joules. Now, the last question they asked me, give 2 reasons why the photon of the X-ray is much more dangerous than the photon of the radio wave. Now, guys, like I said already, the X-ray has a higher frequency. Okay, why do we know it has a higher frequency? Because it has a shorter wavelength. Okay, so it has a higher frequency and a shorter wavelength, meaning it has a higher energy. So thus the X-ray is much more dangerous. And this is quite important that you understand the relationship between energy and frequency. Energy is directly proportional to frequency. So as the frequency increases, the energy will increase. And remember that frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. So in other words, as the wavelength gets shorter, the frequency will become higher, meaning the energy will become higher. So a good way to write this, and I would suggest you do it, is to indicate that energy is directly proportional to frequency, which is again inversely proportional to wavelength. Okay. So those are your relationships that you need to remember when answering questions like question C. Cheers, guys.